Today I have some terrible news to share to you guys. The YouTuber who made many of us laugh in our high school days is no more with us. Recently, he overdosed on some drugs he was taking, which explains how weird and extreme his behavior had gotten ever since last year. The craziest part is he had Overwatch running on his desktop for 6 days while he was laying flat on the floor. The YouTuber, Critikal, got a hold of Twomad's last video from his Discord mod, in which he can be seen doing some crackhead activity.
What the f is going on with this dog? The f is going on with this? Why is he taping his fucking arm? What? What?
Is this real? I genuinely don't know. Apparently it was one of the mods that got hold of this. But what he's doing just makes zero sense. Like, he's completely out of it, obviously. I think he tries to attach, like, an Amazon Kindle onto, like, a pole.
Bro, I think he in Dead Island. What the fuck weapon is he making?
Let me tell you about this guy, Pyro.
Sorry, I gotta skip that, don't I? I'll repeat it in a second.
What is he gonna do with that dongle? What?
If it isn't obvious, his brain was scrambled with all the psychedelics he was taking. This is how the YouTube community reacted to the untimely demise of Twomad, starting off with Charlie sharing his experience with him.
Alright, so yeah, we'll go over it. Twomad apparently passed away today from a suspected drug overdose. I'm sure if you're familiar with Twomad, you've probably seen the spiral that he's gone down over the last couple of years, drug-related. And it's been like a flood of things coming out about him post-mortem now, about like who he was behind the scenes and shit, with some really horrible things being alleged. So, I can't remember if I mentioned this at the start of his spiral or not, but he worked with our agency. Like, Matt and him communicated very frequently because we get him like ads for his videos and such. And there was like this switch that flipped. And I'm guessing it's when he started taking drugs, because he started to get really... He went down a really bad path, and he never recovered from it. So he would say some fucked up things, and he just, I guess, kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I'd heard like things from other YouTubers about him, like in real life, and it was all really pretty horrifying stuff. But I didn't know the extent of it until like a ton of creators came out today to tell their experience with him. It's fucking awful. I don't know what the drug of choice was or whatever. I've seen a lot of people saying he was addicted to ketamine or something, but yeah, it was... Whatever he found destroyed his mental state and created a monster, apparently. And today, he was found unresponsive from a supposed drug overdose. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Drugs, especially with the way he was handling them, are always going to end up in a situation like this. And I know a lot of people tried to help him behind the scenes, but clearly it didn't get through. He needed like professional help, and I suppose never got it. No, I hadn't talked to him in quite a while. After the stuff he was saying, like, to Matt, it was very clear he was not the same person that I, like, played games with back in, like, 2018, whenever that was, with, like, Rainbow Six. He had completely lost himself, so I hadn't talked to him in a while. He did message me, like, whenever TwitchCon was, seeing if I could give him a pass, because he needed to do something there, which, in retrospect to some of the things people were claiming, is really kind of chilling. I didn't answer, but that was... Looking at, like, having that, and then seeing what people were saying about what he was trying to do at TwitchCon is really, really weird now.
Moving on, Critikal shares his bad experience with Twomad about how he tried to steal his video editor, but that didn't stop him from mourning his death.
It's a really situation. It really is. Like, I've seen so many people say so much bad shit about him. I mean, I'll be honest, from personal experience, he was an asshole to me as well. This was a couple of years ago, but just to show like the behavior he had. He tried to poach one of my editors from me, and that's pretty normal in the YouTube scene, like editors getting taken on by other YouTubers. But he went behind my back and then reached out to one of my editors, and he said, you know, whatever Pyro's paying you, I'll pay you double, just to basically get him to come over. And thankfully, my editor actually had like a level of loyalty, and then came to me and told me about it. And then I confronted Twomad, and I said, you know, I'm not gonna tweet about it or expose you or anything like that, but you know, I just think like that's really fucked to do that. And he was like, he was really unapologetic. And he basically just blamed it on his ADHD. And then, like, a couple of days later, he deleted his entire Discord account. Almost as if to kind of, like, hide the evidence. So, I've had bad experiences with him. But, that being said, as much as I see everyone dunking on him on Twitter for like horrible stuff that he's done, that's still someone that's incredibly young that died, like 23. And also on top of that, that's a situation where someone's parents have outlived their child, which I think is just, it's fucking horrible. So I'm not here like celebrating or anything like that. I think it genuinely fucked me when I found out that he died. Like towards the end, he was so like, his brain was so frazzled from drugs, he actually removed me off Discord, and he was convinced that I deleted him. But I just didn't even want to, you know, reach out or anything. But yeah, obviously I've had bad experiences with him as well. But when you think about the stuff with Jameski and Minx, I'm staying well away from that. I know from personal experience, like, situations always evolve and they always change over time. So I would not even have an opinion until, like, all the cards are on the table.
XQC had a great take about Twomad's passing, even though his chat was really pushing him to say something negative about him.
Yeah, I don't even speak about that, to be honest. Guys, it's not because I want to be a certain way, whatever. Is that in general, people struggle with things, and based on what they struggle with, do certain actions, and I'm not going to judge somebody's actions because of what they were going through and make conclusions about that, and then paint them as who they actually are in their legacy. I'm not going to do that.
On to the next, Hasanabi, out of all people, went on to defend Twomad from the miserable Twitter trolls who were making fun of his death.
Oh my god, he did die. Oh my god. That's crazy. Apparently he passed away. That's really fucking sad, man. That's 23 years old. I didn't put it in my fucking title, nor did I put it in my Twitter blast off, because I feel like it's like weird and rude to do that. Especially because I knew him, kind of. You know what I mean? And his death will be on your hands. You killed him. See, like, we already have weirdos in here, bro. Also, he's not a fucking war criminal. For those of you celebrating a 23-year-old fucking killing themselves, okay? Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's not exactly a good dude, okay? He was not. But that doesn't mean that he should have, like, killed himself. Obviously, that's terrible. I deliberately did not interact with him for the duration. I felt like, I mean, he was like a normal dude who was doing some sketches, some bits during COVID, and then just like kind of like lost his way. I don't know how else to describe it. This is why you need people to ground you. Some people are blessed and have friends that can check them when they desperately need it.
A YouTuber who was close with Twomad and had made videos with him had this to say about him.
I was probably within the top 20 people that knew Twomad, maybe even the top 10. And even then, I really didn't know him at all. I was not his friend. I tried many times to be his friend over the years and failed every time. I invited him to visit the community I'm building here in Toronto, and he considered it briefly before making up some excuse about how the Toronto airport was sketchy. And those were the last things we said to each other. I met with him one time for this video we did, and meeting with him was like pulling teeth. He said he was too busy playing video games alone in his room to hang out, even though I don't know if he had any friends. It doesn't seem like he did. I told him many times the importance of having people in your life that love and understand you, and many times he brushed that off. I don't think he ever let anyone in. I don't think he ever let himself let anyone in, and the few people he did seem to try to let in had such deeply traumatic and troubling experiences with him that I don't think that he knew how to let people in. He told me during my interview with him that he was mute in high school. He basically didn't know how to talk, didn't talk to anybody. When he started posting online, which again was when he was a teenager with a developing brain, he found a way of feeling understood and finding a market for the way in which he was deeply strange. He did an insane amount of drugs. I don't even know how you do $30,000 worth of ketamine in a year, and those drugs are ultimately what killed him. I believed Twomad to have some kind of schizo-adjacent brain back in 2021. I encouraged him to make an effort to correct his health, avoid stimulants and psychedelics, and do some things that worked for me, like fasting. I also considered him to be an exceptionally isolated and atomized individual, and kind of the archetypal example of someone so surrounded in copes that they viewed their own atomization as a good thing. This was especially prevalent near the end of his life, where he started identifying as Light Yagami from Death Note, who was this introvert 30 steps ahead of everyone, who had a master plan that no one else knew. Of course, this grand master plan manifested in him overdosing while playing Overwatch alone in his room, dying as he lived. He told me his father had started smoking again after a long time of having quit because the dad was so stressed about seeing his son appear in YouTube drama. I don't think Twomad knew how to be a real person. I don't think he ever had to learn. So, Baba Booey.
While YouTubers had mostly nice things to say about Twomad, people on Twitter were vastly different. Most of them had very negative opinions on him and were making memes on his untimely demise. I think that will wrap it up for this video. Also, this video was not made to gain subscribers, so you do not have to subscribe.